being a journalist is the best job in the world. The second best job in the world is teaching journalism. So my name's Karen Fritchie. I am coordinator of the journalism and new media department, and I also teach in the English department, and that's it. When I first arrived here, journalism was very much part of the English department. Even though strictly speaking it didn't sit in the English department, there was a much closer link with the English department because it was felt that writing was part of English, almost like writing papers, writing essays, knowing your grammar, that kind of thing. I kind of see that, but actually the way that journalism is, it sits more comfortably with film and communication, which is why it's now part of the film and communication department. Because journalism's changed so much that journalism now is moving towards visual journalism, photojournalism. Even if you're writing a story, very often you'll see videos embedded online. Documentary journalism, that kind of thing. I think that's the way that journalism's going. I was born in a small town just about 50 miles north of London, but I've travelled around a lot in my life. So I grew up in Africa, even though I was born in England, I grew up in Africa, and then we moved back to England when I was about 12 years old, which was a really weird experience because I'd been brought up as an African, and then suddenly I was in England and I didn't know any of the geography that you're taught in school in Europe, or I didn't know any European history. I'd just been taught African history, and it was a great experience, but it took me a long time to get used to being back in England when I was 12. And then after that, I've moved around quite a lot in England. I've lived up in the north, I've lived in the west, I've lived in Wales. So I like new things, I like change, so I like moving around, new experiences. So moving here was a whole new thing for me, even though half of my family is from the US on my dad's side. So I have relatives here, aunts, cousins, that kind of thing, but I haven't lived here before. And so, but I love it. I love living in LA. The greatest thing ever is seeing somebody come into a class new and not really knowing very much about writing, starting to explore their own style, and seeing them grow in confidence, and seeing them become writers who are comfortable in what they do, who know the kind of stories they want to write, and have that sort of aha moment when they realise they can write. Because teaching somebody to write, to be a journalist, is like teaching somebody to ride a bike. You can tell them what to do, you pedal, you balance, you hold the bars, but really you have to let them do it. And it's the same with teaching journalism. I can tell you what to do, how to write a lead, how to be passionate about something, but really it's down to you and what you do and how you write. So seeing writers suddenly find their voice, find that confidence, and really be passionate about writing is just amazing. If you want it, you have to work for it. But when you've worked for it, it's worth it. So because journalism is the best job in the world, everybody wants to be a journalist. Even people who aren't that great at it want to be a journalist. So it's very competitive, but you just have to keep plugging away. And like I said, I would always recommend what I call the stepping stone jobs. So the job you really want might be here, but in order to get that job, you have to take those little jobs that give you the experience, they just move you towards that job that you really want. And so, you know, sometimes you feel like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get the job I really want, but you just have to put it down to experience and say it's something else on my resume, it's more writing experience, and eventually it'll get me to wherever it is, Univision, sports reporter, wherever it is you want to be, you'll get there if you just work at it. But sometimes it's not just like A to B, you have to do A, B, C, D, E till you get to the job you want.